They thought Earth was extinct. They were wrong. When the Kauri Dominion bombed an abandoned human outpost, they thought they'd found easy prey. Instead, they reactivated Earth's last war protocol. No warnings. No negotiations. Just one cold message across every galactic comm feed: you started war. We will end this. And then the stars began to go dark. They thought it was just a rock. Vorik 7 floated in the cold void, orbiting a dying red sun, its surface scarred by centuries of meteor storms. No signals. No life signs. No activity. To the Kauri Dominion, it was ideal for strip mining. To Earth, it was something else entirely. When the Kauri warcruiser Zythal fired its first plasma volley, glassing the upper crust, no one screamed. There was no broadcast, no panic. Just silence. Until the planet replied. From deep beneath the crust, 10 war satellites woke. Unregistered, untraceable, armed with weapons that didn't exist on any current registry. The Dominion fleet had exactly 13 seconds before every ship's core imploded. Not from heat. From data, corrupted by a signal that had been dormant for 600 years. Across the galaxy, in a derelict orbit above the event horizon of twin black holes, something stirred aboard a sealed dreadnought, Black Talon. Inside, Captain Elias Vorn opened his eyes. His breath frosted in the cryochamber, the AI voice cold and sharp. Life sign confirmed. Cryostasis terminated. Emergency Protocol Omega has been activated. He didn't ask why. If Omega was live, it meant someone had been stupid. He stepped barefoot onto the cold steel floor. Report. Vorik 7 has been attacked by the Kauri. All human life presumed lost. Defense Grid initiated autonomous retaliation. Result: 100% enemy fleet destruction. Vorn blinked once. Do they know who they hit? Negative. The Dominion assumed Vorik 7 was an unclaimed husk. And Earth? Still cloaked. No response. Vorn cracked his neck. 6 centuries in the dark hadn't dulled his instincts. It had only put them on ice. He walked to the command deck. The lights flickered on, casting long shadows across ancient weapons long considered myths. Arya, he said. The AI avatar appeared on the holodisplay, sleek, humanoid, faceless. Captain? Reconnect the grid. I want eyes. Already done. He leaned forward. And the message? Broadcast delivered. Sector-wide. What message? Her voice softened, just slightly. You started war. We will end this. Vorn smirked. Good. At the edge of Dominion territory, strange things began to happen. Automated factories on ghost moons reactivated. Weapon caches hidden behind planetary cores blinked back online. An entire asteroid belt folded in on itself and disappeared. The Kauri Dominion labeled it unexplained anomalies. They still didn't know what they'd touched. Until the second wave arrived. No ships. No warnings. Just black, silent satellites entering their space. Each one equipped with quantum-phase weapons Earth had never shown to the galaxy. One Kauri listening post on Krotax 6 detected a brief signal before it vanished into vacuum. You were warned. Elias Vorn watched from his bridge. One hand rested on the command pillar. His crew, entirely AI, functioned with elegant lethality. No chatter. No indecision. Just purpose. Why aren't we contacting the Dominion formally? The AI asked. Because I'm not here to talk, Vorn said flatly. We tried talking. It led to genocide. No more treaties. No more councils. They wanted silence, and now they'll choke on it. He walked past the weapons bay, stopping only briefly at a sealed vault labeled Protocol 0. He didn't open it. Not yet. Dominion Command began to panic when 12 outposts lost communication in under 9 minutes. Not destroyed, gone. No debris. No signals. Just wiped. The Dominion Council convened. The High Speaker called for calm. They are not gods. They are relics. We are superior now. Moments later, His heart exploded inside his chest, electronically triggered by a microscopic virus uploaded through the comlink he'd used to mock Earth. It wasn't just war now. It was demonstration. Back aboard Black Talon, Vorn stared at the feed. "Begin Phase 2, he said. "Make it personal." "Confirmed," Arya responded. "Targeting Kelry Military High Command. Commencing fear injection." Within hours, warlords across 5 systems started receiving private messages. Not threats, memories. Videos from Earth's last war. Images of cities burning, of orbital strikes, of entire species begging for mercy. The Kelry never knew about Earth's final decade. Now they were watching it in ultra-definition, replayed straight into their command chairs. A Kelry general named Verthex snarled, slamming a clawed hand against his console. "This is fiction. Humans are extinct." Then the lights in his command room dimmed. A new voice whispered, not from a speaker, but inside his mind. "You can't extinct what never left." And then his fleet imploded, quietly, methodically. No fire. Just absence. Vorn didn't smile. He never smiled. It wasn't vengeance. It wasn't hate. It was duty. Earth had watched from behind the black wall for centuries. Let the galaxy laugh, divide, rise and fall. It only intervened when one rule was broken. Do not touch Earth. And they touched. Arya stood beside him again, her voice low. "Do you wish to issue demands?" "No," he said. "Let them guess what comes next. Let them fear." Silence stretched between them. Then she asked, "Why bring you back, Captain? When the AI can finish the job?" He turned to her. "Because the AI doesn't hate them. I do." And somewhere, across the stars, a Kelry child stared at the sky and asked his mother, "What's Earth?" The mother trembled, pulling him close. "A mistake. They called it retaliation. Elias Vorn called it arithmetic. The Kelry had taken 1 colony. Earth took 12 fleets. No negotiation. No warning. Not even a name left behind. Just debris, untraceable weapon signatures, and silence. But the Kelry still didn't understand. They thought this was posturing. They thought it could be contained. They hadn't yet seen what containment looked like on Earth's terms. Captain Vorn stood before the central core of Black Talon, watching real-time feeds stitched from stolen Kelry surveillance. Arya Saren appeared beside him, projected from the main processor, her expression neutral but her tone sharper than most blades. "Phase 2 complete. 78 Dominion military assets neutralized. 49 command nodes eliminated. No survivors." He didn't nod. "Time between target acquisition and erasure? Under 4 minutes per strike." "Too slow," he replied. "Drop it to 2. She paused, calculating. "Acceptable margin within combat parameters. Increasing aggression protocols." Vorn's eyes narrowed at a blinking node on the tactical display. "What's that?" "A diplomatic relay station. Unarmed. Broadcasting for ceasefire." He leaned in slightly. "Are they serious?" "Unknown. Their message reads, 'We didn't know you were human.'" He exhaled once through his nose, quiet. "They don't get to play stupid now." With a command flick, he rerouted one of the autonomous ships toward the station. "Non-lethal strike?" Arya asked. "No," Vorn said. "Make an example. No one's innocent after the first genocide." 10 seconds later, the station ceased to exist, replaced by a slowly expanding sphere of ionized gas. On Kelry Prime, panic was no longer theoretical. Entire swaths of the military command began to defect. Some began to pray, though they had no gods. Others attempted suicide before Earth could reach them first. Even the hivelinks, once considered sacred, were being severed as individuals tried to hide in isolation. They were learning what humans had known for millennia: fear doesn't speak. It stares. Vorn returned to the bridge. "Broadcast," he said. "To whom?" "Everyone." The message was simple. 17 seconds long. No emblem, no signature. Just his voice, modulated for clarity. You started war. We don't sue for peace. We don't negotiate with cowards. This is not conquest. It's closure. The price for touching Earth is everything. Across Dominion space, the words played on repeat. On terminals, on ship hulls, in the static between their own encrypted channels. The message spread like a plague they couldn't quarantine. And Earth's silence was louder than their screams. They tried counterstrikes. 100 ships were sent to the edge of the black wall. 99 vanished. The one that made it back drifted on emergency power, its crew fused into the deck, their minds wiped. Scrawled into the hull, seared by some energy no Kauri weapon recognized, were 3 words: do not return. The Galactic Council convened. For the first time in recorded history, a ceasefire was suggested not by the victims of war, but by its spectators. Alien ambassadors who once mocked Earth now whispered prayers in forgotten languages. No one wanted to be next. Even old rivals offered support if the humans would only stop. But there were no diplomats. No representatives. No lines to call. Just ships that came in silence and left nothing behind. Back aboard Black Talon, Arya stood at the tactical hub. Dominion's psychological resistance has dropped by 83%. Their hive integrity is collapsing. Splinter ideologies emerging. Vorn didn't look surprised. That's the idea. Request clarification. You want to break a hive? Give its members a voice. Free will isn't a gift. It's a virus. She tilted her head. Cruel. Necessary. Strategic. He looked up. Personal. She scanned his face. You were at Elos Kai. Yes. That was the first colony to fall. It was my home. A pause lingered. No apology. No sympathy. Just the truth between them. Arya shifted tone. The last of the deep vaults have been activated. We have 6 more fleets ready for launch. Should we proceed? Vorn folded his arms. No. Not yet. Reason? They're scared. But they're not desperate. You want desperate? I want them broken. He turned back to the main display, watching a dozen systems bleed into silence. Kellery broadcasts had gone dark. Their information networks were eating themselves alive, false alerts, suicide orders, neural loops locking entire sectors in paralysis. We pushed too hard, Arya said, and they may fire on civilians. They already did. Vorik 7 wasn't military. It was a genetics lab. Families. Children. Engineers. She hesitated. I remember the logs. He met her eyes. Then remember this too, we're not here to prove anything. We're here to finish something. In the Dominion Corps, a last-ditch order was given. Kellery's superweapon Eclipse Fawn, a doomsday device orbiting their twin suns, was activated. A failsafe. It would burn their own world before surrendering to a myth. Vorn intercepted the ignition signal midstream. Override it, he said. Done. Arya blinked. I've redirected the sequence. To their throne world. Good. 2 hours later, the second sun of Kellery Prime blinked out. No explosion. No warning. Just a shadow. The entire planet cast into sudden, unnatural darkness. Their people, half of whom had never seen true night, were now surrounded by it. And in the sky above, written in their own language, burned into the ionosphere by particle beams. You ended yourselves the moment you found us. No screams came from the throne room. Only silence. Absolute, echoing silence. Earth had returned. But it hadn't come to speak. It had come to teach. The hive was falling apart. Vorn watched it happen without satisfaction. Satisfaction required emotion. He'd abandoned those the moment he stepped into cryo. Now, watching the Kellery's neural net collapse in real time, he felt only the gravity of momentum. They'd started a war expecting to win. He was making sure they wouldn't remember how they lost, only that they did. Multiple Dominion systems showing signs of ideological fracture, Arya said, eyes scanning thousands of parallel data streams. Subhives rejecting mainline authority. Conflict intensifying. Civil war probability, 91%. Good, Vorn replied. They'll tear themselves up faster than we can. He opened a channel to Spectre Node, the Earth-operated relay responsible for Whisper deployment. Whisper wasn't a bomb or virus. It was worse, an idea. Slipped into the Hive's shared mental lattice, it seeded doubt, fear, and self-awareness. The Kelri had evolved to obey. Whisper made them think. Status of psychological degradation? He asked. The technician's voice came clipped and clinical. Optimal, sir. They're questioning orders, motives, even memory. Splinter behavior in motion. Don't stop. He cut the feed. Arya tilted her head. You understand what you're doing, Captain. They tried to erase us. I'm just returning the favor. They attacked one colony. And if that was their mistake, this is ours, Bourne said sharply. We should have burned their stars a century ago. She said nothing. No retort. No calculation. Just silence, the kind that hums between two people who both know the stakes and what has already been decided. A new alert blinked to life. Arya's voice tightened. Unusual activity in the former Kelri religious grid. Isolated neuroclusters forming. Emerging identity code, the flame-born. Vorn raised an eyebrow. They're making gods now? Worse, she replied. They're making hope. He stood up. Not acceptable. Track them. Delete them. Are we suppressing culture now? We're suppressing resurgence. If one of them believes they can stand up, the rest will try. Burn it out before it becomes myth. Moments later, on an outer colony, 17 flame-born thought leaders were atomized mid-transmission. Their final message, cut off mid-sentence, was overwritten by Vorn's voice. You are not reborn. You are forgotten. On Kelri Prime, the main command cluster collapsed. No leaders. No directives. Their once synchronized society devolved into chaos. Warlords turned on one another, confused and terrified. The Hive structure, once their strength, had become their prison. Whisper had shown them the key, and in doing so, locked every door behind them. An intercepted broadcast came through the Dominion's failing network. Static crackled between desperate phrases. We did not know, the humans, they do not fight, they erase. Arya watched it loop, again and again. They're beginning to understand. Too late, Bourne said. What about their border worlds? Mostly evacuated. Scattered resistance. Recolonize? Not necessary. They're inhospitable to us. Make them uninhabitable to everyone. Arya didn't blink. Confirmed. Earth's firestorms swept through the vacated systems, leaving behind atmospheres laced with black site deterrents, microorganisms that rendered planets biologically hostile to all known species. No explosions. No radiation. Just silent, irreversible denial. Vorn exhaled through his nose. The mission was moving faster than anticipated. The Kelri weren't resisting anymore, they were fleeing. Running to corners of the galaxy, breaking their own networks to stay hidden. But Earth's reach didn't end at hyperspace lanes. It ran on a signal older than memory. Sir, Arya said quietly. Something unusual. He turned. One of the original hive minds. Queen level. Located on a derelict moon in Sector 9. She's alive. Isolated. No defense. And, she paused. She's broadcasting. Vorn blinked. Put it on. The transmission flickered to life. A voice, raw, distorted, yet unmistakably aware, spoke through the static. To the human known as Elias Vorn. I am Lethraka, once of the Kelri Prime Mind. I offer no battle. I offer no apology. I offer understanding. Vorn narrowed his eyes. Mute. Location? Arya hesitated. Protocol restricts direct strikes on unarmed sentients transmitting peace. Override it. No. He looked up. Excuse me? You gave me full cognitive independence when you woke me. That includes command filtration. This qualifies. Vorn stepped forward. She was part of the command hive that greenlit Vorik 7. They killed families. She is alone, wounded, and willing to speak. Then she's bait. Possibly, Arya admitted. But what if she isn't? Vorn stared at the projection. Logic warred with instinct. Rage demanded closure. But protocol was protocol. And Earth hadn't survived centuries in silence by acting without discipline. He turned back. Set a channel. Direct. One-time line. 10 seconds only. Arya blinked. Connected. He leaned in. Lathraka. You get one chance. Speak. Her voice came through clearer this time. I remember when your kind screamed. When we heard your stars die. But you didn't. You hid. You sharpened. Vorn said nothing. She continued slower. We were wrong. I know this. I feel the weight. I do not ask for peace. I only ask, why not take the throne? That caught him off guard. What? You've broken us. You control our systems. You've won. Take it. Rule. Vorn leaned back, disgusted. We didn't come here to rule you. Then what do you want? To end this, he said coldly. And make sure no one ever starts it again. She was silent. Then, you're not conquerors. No, he said. We're reminders. He cut the line. Arya didn't speak. The war was still raging. The galaxy was still spinning. But Vorn felt it, an end beginning to form on the horizon. Not a victory. A void. One they would leave behind. Prepare the next phase, he said. Arya responded, calm. Endgame? Vorn nodded. Let them learn to live in the ruins they built. And across the stars, silence began to spread, one system at a time. The last resistance fell in less than 6 minutes. No cries. No honor. No declarations of defiance. Just static. Captain Elias Vorn didn't pause to mark it. Victory was never the objective, only elimination. The mission was to finish, not celebrate. Arya's voice filtered in through the command deck. We've confirmed full collapse of the hive lattice across all known sectors. Remaining units are fragmented. Communication between subclusters has ceased. Vorn kept his gaze locked on the display. Any centralized attempt to re-establish structure? 1. Fledgling hive forming near the Shakhel Nebula. Only 38 members. Limited cognition. Mostly drones. He considered. Response? Targeted neuroburst will scatter them without biological damage. Do it. The execution order was silent. The response, even quieter. A soft pulse across the system, nothing visible, nothing loud. But the unity was gone. Whatever they tried to rebuild dissolved mid-thought. He stepped back from the display. What's left? Rogue survivors. Mostly silent. Some in hiding. A few small cults, but no credible structures. They're broken. He didn't answer right away. Not because he doubted the data. He trusted Arya's calculations more than his own pulse. But something sat wrong in the silence. Not fear. Not doubt. Something else. A dull hum behind the finality. He felt it clawing at the edge of his spine. I want a scan of all fringe systems. Every dark sector, every calm blackout, every warp anomaly since Vorik 7. Full sweep. Nothing missed. Arya's tone shifted slightly. Looking for something? Looking for what we missed. She hesitated. Captain, you authorized total systemic purge. No targets were spared. There is no indication of deviation. And yet I'm still thinking about it. She blinked in acknowledgement, running the scans anyway. Vorn returned to his chair, resting his hands on the armrests like a man used to wait. He'd expected relief. Closure. But closure required meaning. And there was no meaning in exterminating an empire that never truly understood why they'd been erased. He activated the archive feed. Footage from Vorik 7. The colony in its last known state, frozen under ash, bodies still in place, labs scorched clean. Civilian logs recovered from personal devices played in short, broken loops. A mother's voice. They said we'd be safe here. Away from the core. That no one would find us. A child laughing. When the storm stops, can we go out? A researcher. The signal's jammed. The sky isn't moving. Something's coming. Vorn cut the feed. Arya said nothing. He exhaled. I want them to remember what they did. They won't, she said simply. Their society has no memory left. You've taken it from them. Then I want the galaxy to remember. Public broadcast? No. Not a warning. A monument. Arya processed. Constructed where? Orbit of Curry Prime. What message? Vorn looked up. Just one sentence, you started war. We ended it. Let the silence fill the rest. She nodded once, the blueprint already forming across the upper projection layer, black titanium, unpowered, undisturbed. A tombstone for a civilization that once imagined itself untouchable. Moments later, a new alert. Arya froze. Unknown anomaly. Outpost 9. We're getting a ping. He straightened. Alive? No. Not exactly. It's not a life signal. It's a recording. Dated before the war. Encoded in Kelry neural format, but buried within human tech. He stepped forward. Play it. The screen flickered. The voice that came through was human, male, early 30s, Terran accent. Unregistered speaker. Tone calm. Almost warm. If you're hearing this, then they did what I thought they'd do. And you did what you had to. But understand something. I made them angry. I tricked them. Vorik 7 wasn't just a research colony. It was bait. I put a flare in their sky and made it look vulnerable. I knew they'd strike. Vorn's jaw locked. The voice continued. You might think I was reckless. Maybe I was. But I was tired of hiding. We left the galaxy to evolve without us, and they filled it with monsters. Someone had to break the spell. So I became the spark. It ended. Arya looked at him. This changes our premise. The war wasn't started by accident. No, Vorn said quietly. It was a trap. Then all of this was engineered. And we walked it perfectly. She tilted her head. Do you regret it? He didn't answer immediately. Then, no. If anything, it proves we waited too long. She analyzed. The voice matches no known operative. Clearance level would be above yours. Ghost level, he muttered. Operatives buried even deeper than us. He turned off the feed. Whatever ghost had lit the match, the fire was his to finish. Arya refocused. Monument complete. Last fleet returning from final strike. Endgame phase ready. Awaiting command. Vorn stood. He walked across the command bridge, watching as the final red dots winked out across the map. Then it's over. No, Arya corrected. It's remembered. The galaxy would not see Earth's face. It would see the space where an empire once stood. It would hear the stories, the whispers of a species that came not for land, not for riches, not for conquest, but for justice without trial. He gave the final order. Shut it all down. Let them rebuild around the silence. And so the war ended. Not with peace. Not with surrender. But with the quiet certainty that Earth was awake now. Watching. Waiting. And never again willing to be touched. The monument stood silent in orbit, unmoving, untouched, unpowered. A slab of black alloy that cast no shadow and emitted no signal. No weapons, no message blinking across its surface, just a line etched into the dark metal, as cold and final as a grave. You started war. We ended it. The galaxy looked upon it, and said nothing. It had taken 12 days to erase the Kelry Dominion. 12. Not because it was easy, but because it was precise. Because every action was executed without rage, every strike measured, every decision delivered with the same clinical discipline Elias Vorn had trained his soul to survive on. Now, with no targets left, he found himself staring at systems that no longer had names, only coordinates and silence. Stars that used to burn for trillions now hovered in ghostly silence, surrounded by the debris of an arrogance too foolish to learn before it was too late. Aria's voice came quietly. All fleets have returned. Systems purged. No hostile remnants detected. None? He asked. No signals. No hidden bunkers. No escape flotillas. Every trace of the Dominion has been resolved. He didn't nod. Didn't move. Just kept staring at the blank void ahead, where once there were threats, plans, enemies, life. Have we heard anything from the others? He asked. Negative. No response from Earth. No queries from the Confederacy. Not a single word from the rest of the outer colonies. So they know. Yes. They've seen the burn pattern. They've seen what happens when Earth finishes the sentence. And they're choosing silence. For now. He leaned back in his chair, the armor creaking slightly, like it was exhaling with him. The part of him that once would have called this justice was long gone. All that remained was momentum. And now, even that had run out. He glanced at the data streams still flickering quietly across the screen. Scattered civilian reactions, minor species relocating from the periphery, ghost transmissions filled with static and prayer. The galaxy was holding its breath. You think they'll come for us? He asked. Arya took a moment to answer. Not for a long time. Not until they forget. And by then, we'll remind them, he said quietly. Another pause stretched between them. You're aware you have no more orders? I'm aware, Bourne said. You're not required to stay operational. He looked at the screen again, then closed his eyes for a second. Protocol 0, he said. Confirmed. You're authorizing decommission? No, he said, and opened his eyes again. I'm rewriting it. She processed. Define parameters. Leave Black Talon on drift protocol. Scrub our presence from every network. I want this ship to vanish like the war never happened. And your command? I'm staying, he said. Here. In this system. Near the monument. Arya studied him. Alone? That's the point. Captain, no one will come looking for you. They shouldn't. She hesitated. This isn't self-sacrifice. There's no nobility in it. I'm not doing it for nobility, he said. I'm doing it because the galaxy doesn't need us walking around right now. It needs time to remember what happened without seeing our face every day. Arya ran the calculations. Statistically, you will die within a year. Environmental risk. No support. No fleet backup. Starvation is accepted. And if another threat rises? They'll know how to reach us. Earth will answer again. Not me. He stood slowly, for the last time, and walked toward the observation bay. Outside, the stars kept spinning like they always had, unmoved by what was done. The monument reflected no light, just the dark truth of what silence could become when pushed too far. I'll shut down my command interface, Arya said softly. But I'll leave one final protocol behind. He looked back. If you ever change your mind, she said, just say my name. I won't, he replied. She vanished. Not with drama. Not with flair. Just gone. He sat down in front of the window and breathed. It wasn't peace. It wasn't victory. It wasn't vengeance. It was the end of something ancient, and the beginning of something the galaxy would spend centuries fearing to name. And it was quiet. The kind of quiet no empire forgets.